Two.
Thank you for checking in with the K&B Music Den. My name's Brad.
And I'm Keith.
Well, it's good to see you, Keith.
Good to see you, buddy. How you been?
It's been a while. We gotta do this in person again soon.
Yeah, because we need to do when we do the ranking the albums in real time. That cannot be on Zoom.
No, that's not gonna work so well.
Nah, that
No.
wouldn't work on Zoom. So I gotta have you back over here soon, buddy. I miss you.
Very soon, very soon.
All right.
So we're here for a couple of reviews again today.
Yeah, we are. Lots of albums still coming out.
First up, Jason Isbell with his new album Weathervane.
Jason Isbell, Brad. What are your thoughts on Jason Isbell, the man, the artist?
Well, I'll tell you, this was weird for me to do this
Yeah.
review because I'm not sure. You guys will be in the comments and everywhere calling me petty and a dick, and there'll be some Isbell fans hating me, but after some of the stuff that went on personally with him and some of the things I've seen how he responded to certain friends of his, it left a sour taste in my mouth, and I kind of stopped listening to him altogether.
Yeah.
And I was a
Yeah.
big fan. I was a very big fan of his
Yeah.
music. But the last album, Reunions, I knew nothing about it. I think I put it on for a second, but I just turned it back off. I couldn't go there. But
Wow. Well,
you wanted to review this album, so I said, "Here's my chance. I'll jump back in the water and see what I think." So
thank you for being so gracious.
yeah,
But let's before we get into the album, let's touch on this a little bit because I think you and I have different views on all that.
sure,
I mean, the artists, and I'm not saying because I think in most cases you do, but
yeah,
I separate personal stuff, stuff read in the media, conflicts with people, even behavior.
sure,
Sometimes that is, borderline or even over the line of horrible behavior by these human beings that make this great music. I like to try to compartmentalize that, keep it separate. I know sometimes it's tough to do.
yeah,
Um, and I know when you say, certain people or friends of his, I mean, we all know who you're talking about.
sure, sure. Yeah, I mean,
So, yeah, I just for me, it doesn't. I kind of try to separate it, like I said, and I, I think Jason Isbell is, one of the best singer songwriters going today. So I try not to, punish him, let's say. But you really seem to take a left turn on him
yeah.
with that stuff, and
It,
it kind of surprised me. I'm not gonna lie.
it's still, yeah. I mean, to this day, it still bothers me. I mean, to me, lyrically, I get into musicians' lyrics, what they say, and if I start to feel like maybe there's some bullshit behind it because of how I see you respond in public to certain things, some things become disingenuous to me. I mean, when you were going through a hard time in your life and someone stepped out of their way to do something for you, and the second they're down, you kick dirt on them. I don't know how quickly I want to throw your record on. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying everybody else should
Yeah,
have that opinion.
yeah.
I just
No,
have a
it's
hard time with it.
no. I mean, but your feelings are at the surface on this one, and for
Yeah,
that part of it, I respect greatly. It's tough, it's a tough thing because I thought that too because I know Jason Isbell has been very upfront about his dealing with support, getting sober, and
yeah,
I don't know for sure, but I'm sure there are things he looks back on when he was not, in his best state, being a traveling musician
sure.
with the drive-by truckers and then solo for a while. I mean, 400 unit and then solo, and
Mhm.
before he got married, of course. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm sure there's things that he looks back on as like, I'm not feeling too good about that. Um, but he never got really publicly skewered, and
yeah.
put on
When
put on the cross.
you would just think someone who's gone through some things like that would be more quick to help someone else who's been through some things.
Yeah,
And again,
yeah.
this is not this is no court of public opinion. The fans, ignore me. I mean nothing. So this is about the record. This is fun. If anything, this is nice because it brings me back in with fresh ears. I haven't listened to him for quite a while. So
Well, that's a good
yeah,
perspective because obviously
yeah,
I've been on board the whole time. Reunions I
yep,
thought was a solid effort. Didn't blow me away or anything, but I thought it was a solid album.
yeah,
And there's a lot of stuff to chew on here. But I guess why don't you put me on the spot because you introed the video like you
yeah.
always
I mean,
do.
like you said, you've been on board. You didn't miss any of the stops like I did.
Yeah, yeah.
How's this as a follow up to reunions? How is it? How did it follow up?
Um, I think this one's tough for me because I'm still wrestling with it. Like this one,
Okay.
I think is going to end up being a grower. Okay,
Okay.
that's my gut reaction because I trust Jason Isbell. I trust the 400 unit.
Sure.
And they're one of the best bands, and he's one of the best singer songwriters going strong right now. So I think this one's going to need some more grow time on me. But first and foremost, I will say something we've been noticing a lot with albums this year. I think this is a side A album, man. I
Well,
I I
yeah,
really do think it's very front loaded to me.
I would
And
highly agree.
you agree? Okay, I thought you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and part of that is a tip of the hat to how fantastic the first four, in my opinion, songs are on this album. And part of it's kind of a backhanded compliment because you're kind of saying like, well, the rest of the album doesn't live up to it. And again, we're probably splitting hairs because there's B pluses and A minuses. I mean, this is a guy that's at the top of his game, that's at an elite level, in my opinion, and is very well respected and deservedly so. Um, I'll throw a quick curveball in here, then we get back to
Yeah.
the album proper. I have heard some people champion Jason Isbell as this generation's Bruce Springsteen. What are your thoughts on that?
There's a lot of people he's had to fight with that. I think there's some good musicians out there, and
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't just hand him the crown, but I mean, he's up there. I mean, he's definitely one of our better songwriters. I don't
yeah,
think that's an argument.
yeah, yeah. I think he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, his vocals are. I don't think he's has necessarily has the versatility in his vocals like someone like a Ryan Adams, for example.
There's
Um,
a lot of good songwriters out there right now who have a lot going for them. I'll tell you, for me, this album is
yeah,
again coming back to it. I, I'm a huge fan of certain albums of his, especially like "Here We Rest." I think it's the most underrated album he's ever put out. So I mean,
probably
for all
agree.
the
Yep.
haters that are mad at me for what I'm saying, that album, I mean, that was flawless in my opinion.
Yeah,
And then you have Southeastern,
dude.
again, insane. And then he follows that up with what, something more than free. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's hard to top that three category. So I came into this fresh going, okay, I'm going to put down my angst about it and
yeah.
listen to it. Hey, maybe I'll get a great album that I can be happy I got back into. I struggled with it a bit. Like you said, I mean, I'm just looking because, like I said, I take notes on all this, so I'm not
Yeah,
just giving you bullshit here. But Death Wish is a great opener. I mean, I thought that was a
yeah,
great opener, classic
yeah.
Isbell sound. I put for King of Oklahoma, it sounded a lot like a lot of Isbell songs. I mean, there's just something now. It's starting to prod a bit where the songs are starting to sound like the same formula, the same. I don't know. That's Isbell. It's not bad, but it's
No,
not new. It's not
no, you're
refreshing or
right,
new.
and you're putting it. Yeah, you're putting into words something I wanted to touch upon too.
Okay.
I came up with a term. I think you're gonna like this.
You
I,
do the
I think
terms. Okay.
I think, and again, it's not necessarily a bad thing because you have
Yeah.
a great sound and you stick with what works, and I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
fault someone for that, but the Isbell melody is I can almost hear what he's going to do before he does it in the
Before it
song,
happens.
and I call
Yeah.
it the Isbellody.
Yes.
Isbellody. So the Isbell melody
There's no
is
curveballs.
no, it's straight down the middle, bread and butter
Yeah.
Isbell, which is
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, a great thing. Let's not
Yeah.
lose sight of
Yeah.
that.
I still graded the song a B. I gave it a B, even though
Yeah,
it's a, but again, it didn't surprise me. It wasn't like, well, this is new. I've been missing this.
well,
It's where I left off.
and while I agree with you on what you just said about that song, King of Oklahoma, that is probably at this point by far my favorite song on the album.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, now Strawberry Woman, I really like the acoustic intro into that. The guitar
Yes.
playing is very nice. That's a little bit different. I mean,
Yeah.
that one stood out a little bit to me as well. Um, Now, middle of the morning, or middle of the morning.
Yeah.
I liked that one. It was different. Now that one
I like
was a
that one a
little bit
lot
of a
too.
curveball, and it reminded me of something that he would have recorded in Muscle Shoals in the '70s. I mean, that had a throwback. You know, there was something really unique about that one that I did enjoy. His vocals were different, the
Yeah.
melody.
That's
So that
that's
one,
probably my second favorite on the album is
and I
that
have
one.
an A on that one. I
Or
put an A
that
on the
that
grade.
and Death Wish are kind of tied for second. Yeah.
Yeah, but then here we go with now. This is I thought of you when I heard this next song, "Save the World." I mean, what have you been saying? This is something you've touched on recently.
Oh, about the hey, let's all get together and let's all love each other and like
And
kind
fix
of
all the problems and
the cheese ball lyrics.
this, and this was
Yeah.
kind of that. I literally put a little shrugging emoji
Yeah.
on my sheet because it's just like, well, okay,
Yeah.
okay, it's fine, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, yeah, it is what it is a good way to put it. I mean, we're 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 in a spot here in the year 2023 where some of those things maybe need to be addressed. And if I'll give him this, he's an authentic songwriter because that's on his mind, it's on his heart,
it is,
because it's on all of our hearts right now.
it is.
I think, for the most part. So, but finding a way to say things that isn't like I always
Ex-
say.
that's
Now,
exactly it.
I've heard, but speaking of the song "Save the World" on this album, "Weathervanes" by Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, I have heard much more egregious offenders of the lyrics, than that song, in my opinion.
But I've also heard a lot more compelling songs written in the same about the same topics.
Yes, very
Yeah.
true, very true.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, Cast Iron Skillet is where I kind of hit a low point for me. This is where I put it. It's a reflective song, but this is where it started really just prodding along. Like,
I kind of like that one actually.
do you? Okay, well, maybe
Yeah,
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 this is we have some different spots on that, but it just begins
yeah,
to kind of, like you said, I knew it was coming. There was no,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's like a tried and true Isbellity, like I said before, the Isbell
yep,
melody that that
yep.
is it's great. I mean, I love it. I mean, I eat it up all day, but when I heard the advanced single Death Wish, to me that sounded like a bit different direction and said, okay,
Yes, I
like
agree.
what's this album going to be
Yep.
like? And then it kind of played it safe, in my opinion.
Death Wish is what made me go, you know what? I'm good with reviewing this because I want to hear what he's doing.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
once I got past that, I went, okay, it's just kind of the same,
yeah, and I'm interested to hear now that we're really getting into the guts of this. We're talking about the songs and everything. This was very strange for me. The last two songs, "This Ain't It"
Mm-hmm.
and "Miles,"
Models, yep.
to me they just didn't fit on the album. Like they kind of missed the mark for me.
I literally didn't put a note next to either one of them.
There you go. You
At
were
that
kind
point, I
of
said,
done by then. Yeah,
yep. I was like, this is just, I have nothing to say. Like, it's
yeah,
not bad. It's not good. It's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
it's just there. But like you said, the last three songs, Wait for Out of This Ain't It, and Mine, yeah, just kind of, like you said, it petered out to me. It was just,
I think the song before "This Ain't It" should have been the final song of the album.
I would agree with that.
Now, and I rarely say these things because a lot of times the position I take is, hey, Miles, maybe someone else who has a different set of ears and a different
Mm-hmm.
mind and a different heart than me, that could be their favorite song on the album. So, for me to say, well, it should have been on the album, who the fuck am I?
Well, that's
But,
the point. Yeah, me and you are
yeah.
just giving opinions. We don't mean nothing when it comes to this. I mean,
Don't tell the viewers that. We won't have people watching anymore.
yeah, I mean, I see reviews and posts where it says, you can't grade art. That's 100% accurate because art's definitely flexible. It's liquid.
Yeah.
It's different for everybody, but it's fun to give an opinion of it too.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
put
I
out there,
agree. Yeah.
yes, I mean that's
I think, to say you shouldn't grade art is true, but you can certainly react to it,
yes, and that's what we
without
do.
grading it.
Yep.
Which and that's bad. That you bring up a good point that I've always wanted to mention on this channel. Never really came up in conversation until now. I like the fact that we don't give star ratings
No, no, and like I said, I
because
once in a while
that's
put a grade next to a track, but that's just
yeah,
to help you remember where I stack it, kind of amongst the
yeah, yeah,
album. But yeah, I mean, what we're doing here is we're not telling you it's a 1 star or 5 star. We're just reacting to what
yeah,
we expect. I mean, that's what I to an Isbell fan. This might be a 5 star album. I mean,
yeah. I mean, and are are we doing what we do with a lot of artists in some ways without even being necessarily conscious of it? Are we are we punishing him for what he's doing now because of
sure,
what he did before is so
absolutely,
fantastic? I mean,
absolutely.
Southeastern is one of the best albums in the
But
past
you
20 years.
should too. I mean, if you have someone who's like Wayne Gretzky, who can put up 50 goals in a season, and he comes back the next year and has 20 goals, well, that's a good season for a lot of players. But you shouldn't pat him on the back. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's
Wayne
true.
Gretzky. You know what I mean? Like,
That's a good point.
we expect things from certain people, and if you throw out a middle of the pack album and you're Jason Isbell, I
Yeah.
think some eyebrows are okay to turn. You know.
Yeah, no, you're right. And what about what are your thoughts on, because I was thinking about this, is there a difference or is there a preference even for you, let's say, between Jason Isbell and Jason Isbell in the 400 unit? Because, Southeastern is a flawless masterpiece in my opinion. It's
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic album. But the one you said, what was it called? Here We Rest.
Eerie Rest.
Now that was with the 400 unit, and that
Yeah,
may be your favorite Jason Isbell
that
thing
is my
ever.
favorite. It's not
Yeah,
even a question. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I know that album, but I don't know it. No, you know what I mean? Like I
Oh,
know Southeastern, so
well,
that makes
see
me want
here,
to re-listen
all
to
the
it.
fans can get back on my side here. Listen to that album because
Yeah,
it's perfect. It's
and I don't
perfect.
doubt you. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
liking it when I heard it. I just didn't like listen to it
Yep.
20 times or anything. But
Yep.
so yeah, I mean, sometimes like when I listen to Southeastern, like uh, and obviously he had drummer and bass. He had a band or the band with him, and maybe just they weren't named on the album.
Hmm.
But I wonder if sometimes he's trying to show off the band that he has, which is a fantastic band of musicians,
Yeah.
which includes his wife. But I wonder if I don't know, and I don't know. I mean, he probably does the majority of the songwriting still, and just says, "Hey guys, here's the songs and learn them." I
Oh,
believe.
I'm sure. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So sometimes for me, it's hard to tell like what the main difference is between a solo and a 400 unit album. I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to his writing and his voice. So,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
it's yeah, and you're right though. I mean, when you've had past masterpieces, and I'll say plural for him,
Oh, yeah.
um, people do expect things.
You
Um,
should.
now, would I go so far as to say he's run out of things to say? Absolutely not.
No,
No.
I don't think he has either. I just think he needs a refresh.
Yeah, yeah. And one, like we said, Death Wish, we thought this was going to be it. And
It
again,
sounds like it.
folks, I can only speak for myself. Brad can clarify too. I'm not saying this is a bad or a poor album whatsoever.
Well, let me ask you this:
Yeah.
how does it compare to reunions? Because I did not listen to reunions.
Um, I think Reunions is a notch above.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's a notch above. Oh, it escapes me as Bell fans, but there's a song on there. Oh, geez, or was it on the album before that? There's a song about you know, going outside and smoking or something. It's skipping me, but it's like it's such a fantastic song. I forget the title, but yeah, it's one of the best he's ever done. Now,
Okay.
King of Oklahoma, like I said, I mean that song. I mean, even though I could kind of predict where it was going, I thought lyrically and everything, I thought that was a great song. And allow me to quote a lyric there on that one. King of Oklahoma, he sings, "She used to make me feel like the king of Oklahoma, but nothing makes me feel like much of nothing anymore." That's
He's
great.
always he's always had a way with words.
That's great. And I'm going to
Yep.
quote another one for Mr. Isbell in defense of both.
Okay.
On the song called "If You Insist," he sings, "My mama spent every day alone in a house with noise and names. She got so tired of putting out fires, she just laid down in the flames."
Oh, God.
Dude.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's ever going to say he can't write a song lyrically. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a poet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and again, like I said earlier on in this video, I think this one is going to be a grower. I think there's a lot more here than what I'm getting from the first few listens over the past few days since it was just released on Friday, and this is now Sunday when we film it. But I was hoping for more what I call peaks and valleys in this album.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I almost wish, I think for his next album, I think it's time for him to strip it back a bit and you know could there be a song, because he's got a fantastic unique voice. Could there be a song on the next album where it's just a simple piano part and him just singing the shit out of a
Oh,
lyric that is just a great lyric? I mean, those are the kind of moments of diversity of dynamics, and things like that I'm looking for.
and
Um,
he would kill that. He would
yeah,
absolutely kill
that's
that.
the thing. I mean, that would bring me to
Yeah.
tears. That would floor me.
Yep.
Um, and this one I enjoyed as a listener, but it didn't floor me.
Yeah.
And I expect that from him. I really
Yep.
do.
Well,
Um,
for me, this didn't open much as far as getting back into the newer stuff, but I'm going to allow myself to get rid of the pettiness and go back and re-listen to Here We Were Asked and Something More Than Free because I am now remembering how great they were,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
do
and
want to revisit that.
I would challenge you now that you've, loosened up a little bit on your stance. I would be curious to hear what your thoughts are on reunions and kind of comparing it to this
Sure, I might have
one.
to pop that in then. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a listen, in my opinion.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we touched on everything that I wanted to touch on. Yeah, but I mean, what do you think is going on with this trend this year of like side A albums?
I was going to ask you that as well. Like,
Yeah,
again, you were in bands. You did the putting the figuring out the track list and the
yeah.
flow. Was there ever a thought to make sure you get it heavy on the front to make sure people don't leave, or I don't know. I've
Um,
never had a
we didn't. Like
okay.
when I was in the band Shame, from Pennsylvania, a while back, quite a while back. For example, not to be confused, there's a punk band from the UK called Shame.
Yeah.
Um, but excuse me, interestingly enough, you go like on Apple Music or wherever, and a lot of those services, if you scroll back through their albums to the early albums, there's a mistake actually online. And the band called Shame that I was in from Berks County,
Pops
Pennsylvania,
up under them.
is under their
Oh,
discography. So
nice.
I'm sure we got a lot of people like, man, what's this pop rock crap when they were trying to find, the real Shame or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you folks are interested, Brighter Than Gold was our kind of our big album. Um, but that's when you asked that question, that's the album I thought of because I know, we gave that some thought, but we didn't put too much
Okay.
stock into it because as artists, as musicians that grew up loving so many bands from the 80s and 90s,
Hmm.
and knowing albums like from Pearl Jam and things like that, um,
Yeah.
we wanted it to kind of be a journey and kind of have peaks and valleys, like I was talking about, and not worry so much about these are our three best songs, so we'll just throw them at the
Yeah.
front and
Well, I
figure out
mean,
the rest of the order. It's no,
I
it's
think if
it's it's a
you
work of art,
put
isn't it?
songs that might be you're not as strong songs in between two really good songs, not to say it hides that song, but it doesn't show that when you have three or four of those songs that aren't up to the level of the top songs in a row, the album starts dragging. I mean, it.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
every song on that Shame album that I worked on was great. So I mean, we didn't have to worry about that. No, I'm kidding. But
uh,
but yeah, man. So you know what we're gonna say? What are we gonna say to the folks, Brad?
hit the buttons. Tell us what you think of the album.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, call me a dick. You know.
Call Brad a dick. I do it all the time. No, no,
Yeah.
no. Not to his face, except for right now. But hey, leave a note in the comments. Isbell fans, Isbell
Mhm.
loyalists. How does this stack up to the past few? What are your thoughts on 400 unit versus him solo? Not much difference to you, big difference. What have you? Primarily though, what are your thoughts on the new album, Weathervanes? Are we maybe being a little too hard on it, or are you kind of thinking, yeah, I love Jason, but I was kind of thinking the same thing, guys. So let us know. We're very curious to hear what you folks have to say. It's why we do this, to just connect with people and talk about music. So we're honestly just a small part of this. You guys are a huge part of this that will
Mhm.
watch and comment. So as always for Brad,
Brad. Yeah.
I'm Keith.
Steve.
And this is the KMB Music Den. Like you were saying, smash the bell for notifications, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video on social media. Jason Isbell fans, let us know what you think of Weathervanes. And like I said, for me, I think it's going to be a grower, so maybe we can read this down the road and see. When he puts out the next one, maybe we'll
Yep.
flash back and comment back on this one and see how it's grown on us or if it has. But yeah, lots of interesting topics. I'll talk about Jason, about some of that personal stuff as well, with what your thoughts are on that. So weigh in on that if you want to too. But thank you so much, and we will see you. More great albums coming out each and every week, keeping us real busy and on our toes here at the KB Music Den. But we love it. So we will talk to you soon, and take care. Thanks, guys.
Bye.